So I walk in, I'm just an idiotic, stupid dog, but I walk in and somebody's taken over my recording studio, a la, the laundry, whatever you say, the mudroom, where we keep the washer and the dryer in our chambers. But it's my recording studio, and there stands the producer and a bunch of technicians, and they hand me a cold script. I said, what are you, stupid? I mean, I'm an idiotic dog. What do you think? I can do this shit on the fly? It takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of getting ready. It takes a lot of where for and where to what's. The producer looks at me and says, what are you, stupid? We gotta get some deadlines met here, son. What? We've been waiting on you for 35 minutes. I was like, 35 minutes? You got all this set up? I didn't even know you were here. I didn't even know what was going on. 35 minutes, that's not that. I mean, you never reached out to me. You never said nothing to me. I was oblivious. You think 35 minutes is a long wait time? You should have been setting up for 35 minutes. What are you talking about? The producer says, we were. Now here's your script, bozo. And right away, I glanced down, it says, Majorie Taylor Greene was heckling Joe Biden. And I was like, oh my God, what do they want? I told you I don't want to do no more politics, and you told me I'm supposed to be uplifting. And the producer, he looks at me and says, this is uplifting. What are you, a moron? It's fucking uplifting. It's funny. She was like in an all-white ski suit with some faux fur around the collar. She had a faux fur finished ski suit, and she was heckling the president. I'm like, why is she wearing a faux fur, big white puffy coat? Everyone else is wearing, like dignified clothes to be wearing inside for the dress of the presidency. She's wearing something like she wants to get into a ski lodge, get in a chairlift, and start, whatever, start maybe giving out some free Hummers. The producer said this. I looked at the producer. I was like, you can't go there. That's misogynistic. You told me I had to be uplifting and I couldn't be racist or anti-Hebrewist or misogynistic anymore. The producer said, my God, but you can if you can get a bunch of clicks that way. I looked at him. I was like, oh my God, we're not doing this. I told you I'm not doing politics, and that Majorie Taylor, I already did the Cro-Magnon thing. It's hilarious. This woman has a lot of Cro-Magnon genes. No one cares. I've been shouting it from the rooftops, from the peaks of the mountains. Majorie Taylor Greene is a Cro-Magnon man-esque individual. No one cares. It didn't really matter. But the producer, he says, just read the freaking script. So I look down, and I'm an idiotic, stupid dog, and I see we already talked about, where she was heckling Joey Biden up there. He was given as good as he could get for a stuttering 80-year-old fool. I mean, she can't take down a stuttering 80-year-old fool in her faux collared ski suit. What the hell is she wearing that faux? It's like woman in white thing. Majorie Taylor's version of like when Hillary Clinton and all the girls did the women in white thing. This is Majorie's women in white thing. It's a Cro-Magnon-esque women in white thing. It's a little different that way. It makes it a little better, I think. But the man, he steps up, and the man had been drinking. The man, he had a beer in his hand. And let me just see if I can I just want to recapitulate it. When we say reenact it. The man, he staggers up. He's like, hey. So he didn't know who the producers were. He didn't realize that we were doing a podcast. At no point did he realize we had a podcast situational. We endeavored to make takes or posts at the dog post, 8409, whatever it was. I mean, he staggers up. His belly was looking a little bloated. His face and jaws were looking a little bloated. And his eyes were looking a little yellow. Bloodshot, red, and yellow. Like his liver wasn't functioning. And the man, he takes a swig of his bourbon. He didn't sip the bourbon at that point because he was already drunk. Let me see if I can do it. He kind of stepped up and he was looking at that producer. He's like, you dirty mother. Ooh. 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 Oh, that's some good Kentucky sipping. You made it so I couldn't even sip my Kentucky bourbon. Whatever. The man, he looks at the producer and he says, just for your information, okay? I Googled who this Majorie Taylor Greene is, okay? I Googled, and this is the thing. The producer, he stepped up because he could smell the bourbon on the man's breath and all other kind of stinks and things, and the producer was drawn to it. the producer, being a scurvy machismo kind of a guy, he was like, all of a sudden the man's like, oh my God, I never saw the man this late before. His belly's a little too plump for me, but I feel like blowing the man, he said. I wish I could give the man a Majorie Taylor Greene-esque blowjob. I'm so turned on by him because he stunk so bad of bourbon and I think cigar smoke that got into his hair. I don't know. Maybe it was the nair he was using to try to get the pubes off his sack so he could go out and get with vinegar gravy a little bit better. Try to make his penis look a little bit better. No one knew. No one. But the man says, I Googled it, and what come up? What do you think come up when I said, and the both of them staggered back like they'd both been drinking, the producer and the man staggered back. Then they came back together, and he says, I Googled who was that congressman who called Majorie Taylor Greene a whore. It's because some senator, somebody said she was sticking dildos up in her wazoo with some dude. He actually said she had some kind of yadel or a dreidel, some kind of a top, a glass top, that he was putting some kind of oil and then sticking in your wazoo. This is what the senator said this Majorie Taylor Greene was doing. And I thought that would come up, I was like, this senator says she's jacking with some tantric sex thing and all kind of orifice penetration situations. But that's not what come up. What come up was she had an affair, and I want to get this right, because, the man, that's what he was saying to the producer. And the producer says, I already know all about it. It was that Ali Alexander. He called her a harlot and a whore, and he says, you are going to be dead in the water because those consultants who you got drunk with, you scurvy sleaze, fear me more than they fear you. Ali Alexander. He called her a harlot and a whore. He says, I'm spitting you out of your mouth. He brought up the affair that she had with a tantric sex guru. He says, you are a whore and all this and all the other things because she cheated on her husband with this guy, this tantric sex guru. You can't just cheat with a normal person. You got to cheat with a freaking, tantric sex guru. That's because those Cro-Magnon women, they can't get enough. There's no boundaries. They feel they have to find. They're like frontierswomen. They want to get to the boundaries and go by them. That's the only thing that makes them happy. And that Bolbert girl, she's a little petite, little kind of she's a saucy little piece of white trash. She's a stupid little bitch from Colorado suburbs. She's a beautiful little brunette petite girl. She's not used to that tantric sex shit. She don't have one of the big Cro-Magnon vaginas you could open up like the Grand Canyon, And plus, some people said she might be Jewish because she attacked Majorie for talking about Majorie. The Bolbert, the little petite Bolbert brunette says Majorie Taylor is always talking about space lasers this and Jewish space lasers that. But it turns out that this Ali Ostenfried character was talking about her having a polyamorphous tantric sex guru affair. Now the problem was that they call her MTG. Ali Ostenfried accused MTG of an affair with this Speaker McCarthy, no less. The problem with the polymorphous tantric sex guru 10-year ago affair, it was 10 years ago. She's 40-some years old. She's like 49. When she was 39, she's like, it's the end of my femininity. I want to have an affair with a Texas-handled trucker. She couldn't hook up with no truckers. Majorie Taylor was working the Texas, roadhouses, and then that spit her out onto the Texas truck stops, and she couldn't get sated. She couldn't get enough for herself. So that's why, when she was 39, she was leaving her sexual prime, and she was going into old ladyhood, and she was like 10, 12 years away, which now she's like 3 or 4 away from her menopausal situation. So Majorie, you could forgive her. It was 10 years ago. But, because you're like, hey, if she had a polymorphous tantric sex guru affair with a guy and her husband 10 years ago, she's 39, you could see it. Now she's 49 and even more ugly. You can't excuse it. But, you could say, you can't really hit her for the 10-year-ago affair. I mean, that's like a statute of limitations things. But what Ali Ostenfried is saying is that she's having an affair with Speaker McCarthy. She's giving him centric or tantric or Kama Sutric tips. And he's taking them home, and he's in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and then the suburbs are from wherever that California freak is from, and him and his wife and their third or fourth or fifth partners, they're all their tantric horse shit that no one wants to know about. McCarthy and Majorie. So Ali Ostenfried is saying McCarthy and Majorie are into a heated romantic love affair. And he'll do anything for her, and she'll do anything for him. And that's how crappy this whole thing is. That's what Donald Trump got you. Obama got you Donald Trump. Donald Trump got you Majorie Taylor Greene, and McCarthy having sex and doing tantric, weirdo, sicko, freako, tantric, crapola. It's okay. It's all right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It simply does not matter.